So today's project is I'm going to finally begin unpacking my new sewing machine. So for Christmas, I used Christmas money to purchase a Brother XR3774 to begin navigating the world of sewing. My mom, my sister, my mother-in-law, all of them are very accomplished sewers, and it is not something that I have done probably since junior high, when home ec used to be a thing and we used to have a semester of sewing. I think I made a pair of shorts and like a tunic top back in 8th or 9th grade, back when home ec was actually a thing. But so one of the things, Chris and I talked about is for the long, cold winter months in Wyoming, we should both have a hobby. And so I decided that sewing was going to be mine. Now, that being said, it is the second week of February, and it has not been a long and brutal winter. It has actually been quite a delightful winter here in Wyoming. We've been managing to take walks every day with the dogs almost. The wind's nothing to sneeze at, but yeah, it's been a lovely winter. But true Wyomingites tell me that February to April are really winter. So we shall see. So I decided to use this opportunity to start getting acquainted with my new machine and to, delve into the world of sewing. So here we go. Here we have a little bag of miscellaneous things. There's a couple bobbins in there. I don't know, some other pieces. I don't know what they are. Pretty meaty manual. Okay, so a couple of different instruction booklets here. One on lower threading, and then a very comprehensive operation manual. So, seeing that I know what none of this stuff is, I think I will take a little bit of time and peruse the operation manual before proceeding on. Stay tuned. So as I started to get the machine ready to be used, first I turned to the manual and got really lazy because I didn't really feel like reading that entire lengthy book. So instead, I actually ended up Googling this exact machine, and I stumbled across a video of a young girl who seems to be a home economics teacher who was basically using the exact same machine, and she had 5 different tutorials that talked through from the very beginning what to do with the machine. So she was obviously making it for her students, but it was extremely helpful. She went through how to thread a bobbin, how to thread the machine, the different components of the machine. I skipped that video because I have used a sewing machine before. It's just been 35 years maybe. As I had mentioned earlier, my sister is a pretty good seamstress, and she recommended some easy projects for me. But before I jumped into a project, I wanted to refamiliarize myself with basically some basic stitching. I ended up buying a couple of just little pieces of fabric to practice on before I purchased any real fabric for a project. So I used some little fat corners to do some of that basic stitching. I was practicing some straight lines, and then because I didn't want to use the paper to practice corners, I just used this kind of piece of scrap, not scrap, I mean it's designed for some kind of project, but what I was considering scrap material, and I end up making my own little pattern where I go almost entirely through that little square, just practicing corners, again practicing straight lines, and refamiliarizing, reminding myself how to pick up the foot and make sure that the needle's in the fabric, and all of those things that when you haven't sewn for a number of years you kind of forget those. So I just used this little piece of fabric to practice until I felt that I was ready for a real project. Alright, so practicing corners. Mostly just practicing straight lines, right, and making corners. A couple of them look pretty good, but a couple of them have like little like tails at the corner, so I have to investigate why that is. But okay, apparently I can do corners. And bad.
This isn't the house to be tearing around in. Could have told me you were filming before I came out of here.
I'm filming. Are you naked?
I was half naked.
So the first project that my sister suggested I try is a pillowcase, and so I found a YouTube video of a woman who called this a 10-minute pillowcase. I will confess that my first pillowcase did not take 10 minutes. It took
probably an hour and a half. This segment of the video is I'm creating the second one. So this is my second pillowcase. The first one was a king size. This is a standard size, so it's a little bit smaller, a little bit more easily manageable. One of the things that I have to learn is to trust when they tell me how much fabric to buy. I definitely overbought fabric because I kept rounding up. I actually ended up with enough fabric to make 3 pillowcases, so that's okay. I watched the video a number of times. So this is the second one that I'm making, so it's going a lot faster. A couple of the mistakes that I made in the first one, I was able to correct. This step is what I messed up on the first one. I didn't realize that I was supposed to unpin and repin, so I double pinned and ended up sewing through my pins. So that was a disaster on the first one. That was the first seam that I had to rip out. But I knew better for this one. And the video, so like I said, the first one took about an hour and a half. This one I think took me about 45 minutes. I ran into 2 big problems on this one. One is it's very odd to me that there's no way to know when the bobbin is getting low. So in the first pillowcase, I ran out and noticed I ran out when it stopped sewing or stopped stitching, and so I didn't have to rip out that seam, but I did have to backtrack and re-seam it. So I was being cognizant with this one to keep an eye on that bobbin, but something happened at one point that it ended up getting all snarled and really caused kind of a nest of thread that I had to end up ripping out, and that took a little bit of time. But I did cut the time in half on this one, and I think that by the time I do the third one, it'll be a lot better.
Every time I say it'll take me 2 more minutes, something disastrous happens.
Oh, it's not making predictions.
The other problem that I had with this one is these call for French seams, which makes a nice even seam on the inside of the pillowcase. And with both the first one I did and the second one I did, I must not have made the seam fat enough because some of that rough edge was hanging out that I had to go back and do a fatter seam that kept it in. Luckily, the pillowcase was wide enough on both of them that I was able to do that and not compromise in fitting the pillow. So I'll know a little bit better when I do the third one, and hopefully I won't have that repeated step. That's why I'm turning this inside out and then back right side in so I can just sew a fatter seam. Okay, so I got my standard size pillowcase done today. I made my first attempt yesterday was with Chris's pillow. He has a king size pillow for my first attempt. Turned out okay. And my pillow is a standard pillow, so I made a standard size today. It's actually a little bit smaller than a standard pillow, so now we have matching pillowcases. Yes, I realize that they are Christmas pattern and it's February. However, for my first sewing project, I wanted to try, I wanted to use on sale fabric. So Christmas fabric is on sale in case I messed up, but I'm pretty pleased with this. I actually bought enough fabric to make one more king size. But yeah, for a first project, I was pretty happy with it. Chris and I went and picked out coordinating fabrics. What I do like about this one is that
these lines actually helped me as I was trying to sew on straight lines. The cuff on this one is off a little bit. But yeah, for my first sewing project since 8th grade, pretty pleased with how these turned out.
All right, so getting ready to start the next project in the basement. This corner, we're gonna make a storage closet. We're originally just gonna go straight from here, this wall by the steps, and go back, but in order to get a little bit more space, we're instead gonna do this whole corner over to where the edge of the foundation is there, and then out and across with a door right here in front of me. And we're eventually going to put a closet back in that alcove too, probably for clothes, since Kim has many clothes. And mine are half of mine are still in boxes and stuff because
we unpacked all yours. They're in this closet down here.
Well, whatever. So she still has lots of boxes. So we're gonna make a clothes closet back there, I think. But this closet is the immediate project. I don't know. I have a bunch of 2x4s from when I bought all those ones that were on sale. So I guess I'll frame out as much as I have 2x4s for. So maybe we'll start that closet as well. But all right, first step. Again, like in the bedroom, I got to cut off these little tails on the footers, and there's sew plates and header. Well, that one doesn't have one, but up here it does, so that I can put the new wall up against it. So there we go. All right, so a couple hours later, we've got this closet framed out. So originally we're gonna put the door over here on this little short wall, but I got an inward opening door, so that would have taken up a big amount of space. So we thought about flipping it around and opening it outward, but then it would have had to leave a lot of open space out here, and Kim decided this little corner would be a good place to put a desk and table to do her sewing and stuff, I guess. So we moved the doorway over to this bigger wall. I got a 36-inch door to put in here just so we don't have to worry about things not fitting, because I hate when rooms have tiny little doors and you can't get crap in them. So it's a decent sized storage closet, I'd say. Gonna put a couple lights in here so it'll be brighter once I get those done, but And you got the room under the stairs. So we're going to insulate these two exterior foundation walls and drywall them. I guess we're going to drywall the whole inside of the closet, huh?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll drywall the inside and the outside. I wasn't going to do the inside, but Kim has a lot of demands about shelves and hanging things. Not the hang shelves from drywall, but you know, whatever. Drywall's cheap, and I don't have to mud or tape it. That's her job, so whatever, I'll hang it. All right, so I still gotta put the sill plate bolts in to attach them to the concrete and cut out the part of it in the doorway there, but other than that, the framing's done. We have a little bit of insulation left from doing the garage, but not enough to do this whole thing, so we'll have to go get some more. We also don't have any drywall, so I have to do that. I do have wiring and some lights that I bought, so, but I don't know if I have any switches. So whatever. I can at least partially wire the lights in, and we can put a little bit of insulation in before we have to go to the store. But yeah, so the lights will be okay. I'm gonna come off the junction that I put over by the bottom of the stairs for the bedroom. Run two branches off of that, one for this closet and then one for what will eventually be this closet here, each with their own switch. And then obviously it's a closet, I don't need outlets in the closet, but before I run more outlets, I need to put a new breaker in the circuit breaker and create a whole new circuit for that, because we've already got more than we ideally would want on the one circuit that's down here for outlets. So probably put two more in, one for all the outlets in this part of the basement and then one for the bathroom once we do that. So all right, that's it for now. Bye-bye.